गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक ऑफ पाकिस्तान and why it's beyond economic repair. And it is beyond economic repair. And you'll be wondering why I'm going to talk of Pakistan, when China is the bigger threat. Let me explain this whole story. Let me put it in the correct context. Look, uh, Pakistan, China is the long term threat. It is our major competitor. But with China, you're not going to have a conflict every day. You're not going to have terror going into India every day. You're not going to have violent incidents every day. You're not going to have emotive incidents every day. It's a long term thing. But with Pakistan, it's almost going to be a day to day affair hereafter. Especially after Op Sindoor, for quite some time, this problem is going to come up. So we need to analyze and understand Pakistan from very, very different perspectives. And that is why my focus on Pakistan, at times it might feel repetitive, but so be it. Okay, today what am I going to talk of, and why have I got out this? The fact is that Pakistan is beyond economic repair. Economics don't matter in Pakistan. And why they don't matter and why things have gone beyond economic logic is what we need to understand. That's what I'm going to put across. Right. Two things. One, yesterday was Pakistan's budget. And that itself tells you where the economics are. And we'll talk of it. I'm not going to discuss the budget in detail, but we will have a look at it. And second is Op Sindoor itself. What are the repercussions of Op Sindoor on Pakistan? And that is something which, needs to be understood. And why have this was a tweet which came out. Chap Colonel Rohit Butts, he's a retired army officer, he put this. And he does a lot of analysis on many things. And I'm okay with his. I wouldn't say I'm okay. He does a lot of analysis, and I respect his analysis. And whenever he analyzes things, I look at it seriously. He put out this tweet a few days back. He says, "I've spent the last few days re-looking at the entire Pakistan Air Force, their air defense assets, uh, surface-to-air missiles and radar squadrons, their infrastructure, etc. On the face of it, even after damages suffered under Op Sindoor, the Pakistani Air Force retains most of its offensive and probably defensive capabilities." Which brings me to a question. Something drastic has gone down in Op Sindoor for Pakistanis to sue for peace. Something we yet don't know and which is still between the IAF and the PAF. There is still more to Op Sindoor that we don't know. Yes, there'll never be, we will never come to know the truth. As they say, truth is the first casualty of any war. And it's already a casualty, and things will only go down. And everyone will spin their histories out. And we'll never know. It's only after about 5-6 years, some kind of a balanced narrative will start emerging. But when you want to see what went wrong in this kind of a situation, you have to go back a little into the future. But this was my own first gut reaction. I said, look, they sued for peace since their operational capability was zero by then. And that's my assessment. The operational capability of Pakistanis had bottomed out. Their air defense was done and dusted. Their recuperability was nil. And I'll talk of this today. What is recuperability and all that? And if we had done a ground offensive or intensified our air campaign, they were toast. They were done. Right? And I'm not talking of it, but if you look at it, that nuclear capability also came into question, right? Somewhere, earthquakes, Kirana Hills, and all that. So, from all directions, they were done. And we'll analyze this a bit. To understand this, you have to go back to what this chap Hamid Mir said 3 years back. And what did he say?
जनरल कमर बाजवा जो है उसने कश्मीर पे जो सौदा किया उसकी अभी तक डिटेल जो है वो कौम के सामने नहीं आई. मैंने क्या लफ्ज इस्तेमाल किया? सौदा. ये जो उन्होंने इंडिया के साथ लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल सीज फायर किया था, उस सीज फायर के फौरन बाद मोदी ने पाकिस्तान का दौरा करना. ठीक है. तो उसके बाद फॉरेन ऑफिस जो है उसमें बाजवा साहब आ गए अपना पूरा लॉ लश्कर लेके, उनको लेक्चर दिया. याद है ना क्या लेक्चर था? टैंक चलने के काबिल नहीं है,
तो आप कह रहे हैं कि
मूवमेंट के लिए मेरे पास डीजल नहीं है. ठीक है जी, इस तरह की बातें की थी. 20-25 सहाफियों को सामने बिठा के आप उनको कह रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान आर्मी लड़ने के काबिल.
इसका मतलब
ऑडिटोरियम जहाँ पे वो कोर कमांडर्स कॉन्फ्रेंस होती है, वहां बैठ के आर्मी चीफ हमें एक कहानी सुना रहा है कि जी फौज इंडिया से लड़ने के काबिल नहीं, लिहाजा हम सुलह कर.
So what has he said? They don't have the fuel to prosecute a war or sustain a war. So, right?
जनरल कमर बाजवा जो है,
okay, this is what it is. What comes out, and this was 3 years back or 2 years back. Yeah, it was about 2.5 years back, 3 years maybe, when that LOC, thing came that will not fire and all that. So Pakistan did not have the capability to fight then. Could it have improved after that? I don't think so. After all, Pakistan's economy has not gone up, it's gone down over the past 3 years. Now, remember, Op Sindoor started on on May 7th. But immediately after the Pahalgam incident, the PA was up in the air. And it was flying. From 22nd to 10th May, 22nd April to 10th May, it was flying. People had mobilized. They had come and all ready. Right? And by no stretch of imagination did Pakistan think that things will get escalated. If there was any escalation further, could it have sustained the war? And escalation could go anywhere. Forget about the nuclear issues. That was, I think, hardly anywhere around the corner. And if by then the nuclear issue was very clear to them that the nuclear thing won't work, it was time to put up the white flag. On just this factor alone, sustainability, they could not sustain the war. Okay, now we go back to what the previous chief, in a dialogue in Islamabad, he said this, and it's a very significant statement.
China, of course, is our neighbor. It's a very important neighbor and has helped us in many ways. Our military cooperation with China is growing because we are denied equipment from the West. Many of the equipment which were, deals which were concluded have been cancelled. So what do we do? I'll just give you an example. We bought T-129 helicopters from Turkey. It's a very good machine. And the deal was signed. It's a defensive weapon. It's a gunship. But the engine was of American origin. So the Americans refused to give the third-party certification. So what do? Either we wait or go somewhere else. Either go to Russia or go to China. We will prefer to maintain a balance. Similarly, we were making some aid submarines. And the Germans were supposed to give the engines and everything was done. And the last book, when the submarine was ready, the Germans refused to give us the engines. France has done the same, of course, under the Indian pressure, because India is a big buyer. So what do? It is your responsibility to maintain the balance. If you are tilted towards one side outrightly, we'll find, sources from where we can get weapons to, save ourselves. So you need to carry out introspection whether your policy is right or not. We've been your allies for a very long time. We were part of CETO, Centro, Baghdad Pact. We supported you in Vietnam. We supported you in Afghanistan. We helped you dismantle the erstwhile Soviet Union.
So what is he saying?
China, of course,
Right?
is our neighbor.
He's very clearly saying that, you know, military cooperation with China was their only option. And China was not their first choice. Because the West didn't give them anything, they were forced to go to China. They knew that the Chinese weapon systems were weak. They knew it. So once these Chinese weapon systems didn't perform, could they have prosecuted the battle? And they were worried. On that, I don't have a doubt at all. Right? And another important thing which he says, and this will be true in future also, is that military cooperation with China will grow and is growing because they're denied equipment from the West. No one in the West is going to give them free equipment, whether there's a tilt or not. Okay, and India will put pressure, nothing, and they have to increasingly depend on Chinese equipment, which is not okay. And that is why I felt that they could not. And I mean, as an analyst, I knew it before, but it's coming out now. This is something which we have to keep in mind as we go along. We have to factor this in. Okay, and that is why I say Pakistan is beyond economic repair. You know, in the army, when you say BER, it has got a connotation. We'll talk of it a little later. And then you align that with what this chap. You see, this fellow went to. He's part of the delegation, the Pakistani delegation, which is going around with Bilawal Bhutto. And what did he speak in Washington or wherever in USA? See what he says.
But if we don't get any equipment, you've seen what would have happened to us if we didn't have air defense. We would have been rubbles. We'd be pulling out 60,000 kids from the rubble of schools, and when 80 planes come at you. But if we don't get any equipment, coming at, were they coming to hit one residential area with 80 planes and 400 missiles, some of which were dual carriers of atomic kind of warheads? So you saw what they were coming at. You saw what they came with. And you saw the technologies that they deployed from various countries. So I would say, bring it on, man. Give us those technologies. We'd buy them from you.
So look at what this man says. He says, right, if you do not give any equipment, you have seen what could happen to us. And he's asking, look, give those technologies, we'll buy it from you. So you see this continuum. They knew very well that the Chinese equipment was below par. They had no choice, really. Even now, they are in the same predicament. If you see what happened, the chiefs talk now and this delegation talk now, you are very clear that they do not prefer the Western equipment. They're not going to get anything from Turkey. If we play our game well, we need to sideline Turkey, because everything will come through Turkey. And if we play our game well, which I'll discuss tomorrow, if we play our game well, even China will not give them anything. I'm not joking. So that is something which we'll talk tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to talk of China. And I'll talk of what losses China has suffered. But that's a thing. Okay. That's the thing. Pakistan knew it was fighting with substandard Chinese equipment. And that is why it knew it could not recover. Okay. Then, look, this is a small clip. Let me play.
We're still very much in the fog of war that is Operation
This is the
Sindoor.
Shiva
The full picture will take weeks, maybe months to emerge. But even in this haze, some facts are now impossible to ignore. At the heart of Pakistan's big climb down is a truth that neither Islamabad nor Beijing will want to admit. Chinese military hardware, deployed extensively by Pakistan, suffered multiple points of failure that directly led to the abrupt halt in hostilities. Now let's walk through the facts, not the propaganda, not the fog, but what we now know for certain. In the opening hours of Operation Sindoor, Indian jets struck 9 major terrorist sites in Pakistan and POK, Bahawalpur, Muridke, Muzaffarabad, reducing long-standing terror infrastructure to mountains of rubble. At the time, Pakistan's media and its Chinese friends spun a tale that Indian jets had been shot down by Chinese-made J-10 aircraft, that Chinese defense tech had rebuffed the Indian assault. International media even reported surging Chinese defense stocks. Chengdu aircraft shares shot up 20% in a single day. The misinformation worked, but only for a few hours. Then the truth began to emerge. India had successfully used suicide drones to blind and destroy Chinese HQ-9 air defense systems in Lahore, Sialkot, and later we learned Karachi, supposedly China's flagship long-range interceptors. Indian strike aircraft hit Pakistani air bases across the map a couple of days later, from Chaklala to Jacobabad, from Bolari to Rahim Yar Khan and Sargodha. Virtually every airbase protected by Chinese equipment was struck, damaged, some severely, and most importantly, with impunity. Now, this is not conjecture. This is visible fact. You've seen the pictures, satellite images, fireballs near Rawalpindi, the damage pattern, all show that Chinese supplied defenses, including the HQ-9, HQ-16, simply didn't do their job.
So, a very important thing. Look, the damage suffered by Pakistan by 10th May was a huge operational setback and a shock. Aircraft couldn't take off. Their EW was shot. ESM was not there. Electronic support measures. EW is electronic warfare. Their satellite communication links with Bidu were out. Their defenses were being blown up on the LAC. Pakistan had their ability to recuperate was not there. There's no sustainability. There's no fuel. They knew it. I don't know the kind of flying which is going on in Pakistan today, but any analysis will tell you they're not flying enough. They would be flying minimally. They had to sue for peace. There's no choice. They can talk what they want. A military analysis gives you a clarity that's there. Now, what is the whole story? There were defenses were being blown to smithereens. An attack across the LOC was imminent. You look at it from a Pakistani perspective. How would they look at it? There were unexplained earthquakes, which have their own value. You know, if people say, no, nothing happened, I'll not believe it. Ground forces were extremely vulnerable on 10th May without air defenses, which had failed. And that is why you went and hit Sargodha and, Bolari and all those depth bases, Malir. Okay, Malir is next to Karachi. Merchant shipping had already started turning away. It's not a blockade, nothing, but they knew 3 days of action and they knew that they won't come. If the merchant shipping starts going out and the Navy is still not opened up, what's the future? Right? And India had blocked and parried everything the Pakistanis thrown at us, including their Shaheens. Whatever, Shaheen, Hataf, call it what you want. They also put out videos about that. In the name of Allah and all that, and they put it out. But we've just blocked them. All their claims now I'm now talking in perspective and hindsight. All their claims of damaging Srinagar or Adhampur or everything is all false. It's been proven false. They knew it. They knew it. Their nuclear card had failed by then, which I explained with Brigadier Sehgal. Their tactical nuclear system weapons were rendered useless because the tactical nuclear weapons were meant against our ground forces, which never took off. There was no war. They couldn't use them. You don't start a nuclear war just like that. Whatever happened in Sargodha and Noor Khan had their effect that the nuclear thing had gone down. The only option left was ICBMs or whatever, their ballistic missiles. And if you don't have air defense, even that was at risk. So they had to put their white flag up. This is something Right. Now let's have look at it. What is the accumulated losses? Anything between 10 to 12 billion. 7.6 billion is what Wing Commander Satyam Kushwaha estimated of aircraft and infrastructure. But what about the other things? Are there ammunition fuel stocks made up? I don't think so. What about the economic disruption of this whole story? It has not yet come out. What about the psychological disruption of this whole story? Their terror infrastructure has gone on the first day. Their complete communication EW has gone on the second day. Their aircraft bases are still out. Some of them are still out. They're not recovered so far. So this issue of recuperability is what you have all to understand. A nation can suffer losses. Can it recuperate? Look, let's put it this way. Everyone says we lost 6 jets. Oh, it's a great victory. How did it matter? I mean, taking that extreme thing also, right? The next day, all were up. Recuperability. You recuperated from what you did and you went and hit them. Because that's a falsehood. It's now well established that probably my way of looking at it, nothing is gone. And why am I saying nothing is gone? Because of that PL-15, which has got only 70 kilometers range, which they claim is a kill through a J-10. A J-10 on its own can't hit a Rafale. It's the missile. And that missile has got no capability of more than 70 kilometers. So all this nonsense, if you put together, Pakistan armed forces are at this point of time beyond economic repair. It will take time. A long time before they can come back to speed. Don't believe that J-35 is going to come or something else is going to come, some AVAX will come and all. These take time. These are all propaganda. You've heard the difficulties they have. No one is going to give them anything in a hurry. Even if they do give them in a hurry, they'll want money. Where will Pakistan get money from? There's no money. So you have to view it from a larger perspective. Okay? Does that mean threat from Pakistan has gone? No, we'll talk of that towards the end. So look at the second major thing. Why did this whole story start? It started with this speech, right? What was the speech all about? The speech was about many things, but the operative thing was
Our
this.
stance on Kashmir is absolutely clear. It was our jugular vein. It is our jugular vein. We will not forget it. And we will not leave our Kashmiri brethren in their heroic struggle, what they are waging against the Indian occupation.
So this was a thing which speed off Sindoor. He wanted to follow this up with some action. That's the way I look at it. That's my assessment. So he let go whatever he had to happen in Pahalgam. He would have given a go ahead for it because that was a very complex operation. And this planning would have been done much before. And he's put in place and then he spoke. And he also felt that, look, let them do something. We'll put our corporate QPQ plus response and everything will die down like Balakot happened. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And where they are now, can they start anything? That's one. Can they start anything in Kashmir? The space for starting anything in Kashmir is over. It is over militarily because our Prime Minister has made it very clear that you do anything in Kashmir or do anything terrorist related activity in Kashmir, end of story. We'll get you. Will the terror infrastructure revive in a hurry? It will not. A lot of people are saying many things, but that there might be a not terrorist incident. I still grant it. But that terrorist infrastructure has been shaken up. They have to relocate and all that. There are going to be human issues in this which we still don't understand. Okay. But more importantly, that's the military part of it. That's the terror part of it. More importantly, something else happened. recently. This is that, the Chenab train, which has gone across. What has this done? It has linked India with Kashmir irretrievably. To the extent, Mr. Farooq Abdullah's photos are on the social media where he's crying that this linkage has happened. Okay, a very very important thing which happened, and this train alone defeats that jugular vein. That jugular vein is now gone or cut. Just this train, rest of the things we think. Now, to qualify this and to qualify all what I've been speaking so far, is this man Shabar Zaidi. Shabar Zaidi, who is he? He was the head of FBR under Imran Khan. What is FBR? Federal Board of Revenue. It's the one which collects taxes, which everything. He was thrown out because he didn't listen to people. He was a chartered accountant. Personally, I felt he was a misfit in their system. And he admits so, okay? But what he talks in this 2-minute video, in fact, it's a long thing in one of his podcasts. I've just compressed it and put it across.
आपसे यही पूछना चाह रहा हूँ कि क्या इस
अरे यार मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ कि आपके ईस्टर्न साइड पे इंडिया है, उसका बजट आपसे 7 टाइम है, आप लड़ना चाहते हो?
लड़ना तो कोई भी नहीं चाहता सर,
तो फिर तो अगर नहीं लड़ना नहीं चाहते, चलो बराबरी करना चाहते हो,
ख्वाहिश तो है,
तो फिर बराबरी करने के पैसे हैं नहीं है ना? तो ये जो मैंने शुरू में बात की थी, ये प्रवाहित दिमाग से निकाल दो कि आप इंडिया से लड़ सकते हो, ये मान लो कि नहीं लड़ सकते। हाँ, अगर वो हमारे ऊपर हमला करेंगे तो हम बम चला देंगे, ये इस डिटरेंस है हमारे पास। मगर ये हम अगर कह दें कि हम उतने ही टैंक लेंगे, हम उतनी आबदोजें लेंगे, हम उतनी जहाज लेंगे जो इंडिया ले रहा है, तो हम बेवकूफ है ना? हम क्यों ये बात करते हैं? प्लीज ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, ये क्यों करी जा रही है? पाकिस्तान में ये बात क्यों की जाती है? क्या लोगों को भूखा मारेंगे आप? 40 साल से फौज कोई वॉर नहीं हुई, आप जंग चाहते हो?
इसे जंग कौन चाहेगा
यार मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ ना, जंग क्यों होगी? किस बात के ऊपर जंग होगी? क्या वजह है इंडिया से जंग करने की?
सर? कश्मीर एक मामला है जो
कश्मीर आपके हाथ से जा चुका है, भूल जाए कश्मीर को।
इंडिया के पास जा चुका है,
जहां भी जा चुका है, अब भूल जाए। मैंने आपसे 2 प्रोग्राम कर चुका हूँ कश्मीर के ऊपर, अब कश्मीर के बारे में बात नहीं करें। आपने सुना है कश्मीर के बारे में गुफ्तगू कोई रिसेंटली? वो कभी कभी शौक आता है, छुट्टी उट्टी कर लेते हैं हम लोग, वो अलग बात है। कश्मीर लेना है तुमने, तुम लड़के ले लोगे? तुम क्या बातें करो यार, तुम कश्मीर ले लोगे लड़के? ये कह रहे हो तुम ये कह रहे हो कि पाकिस्तानी फौज जाएगी और टैंकों में जाके श्रीनगर फतह कर लेगी, ये कह रहे हो तुम? आर यू इन सेंसेस? 3 दफा तुम ये हरकतें कर चुके हो, कारगिल में भी कर चुके हो हरकत, तुम्हें अभी भी अकल नहीं आई? अकल अभी भी नहीं आई? मैंने तुम्हें कहा था कि इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी के बाद पाकिस्तान इंडिया डिस्प्यूट खत्म हो चुका है और कश्मीरी खुद फैसला करेंगे कि उन्हें इंडिया के साथ रहना है या नहीं रहना। हम इस पे पार्टी नहीं है, हम उनकी मॉरल सपोर्ट करते थे, करते रहेंगे, करते रहेंगे, करते रहेंगे। मॉरल सपोर्ट,
इससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है।
तो क्या करो? इससे ज्यादा क्या बम मारने हैं? क्या करोगे बताओ ना? इससे ज्यादा क्या? ज्यादा का ना, आपने ज्यादा का डिफाइन करो। ज्यादा को
सर वो कश्मीर पाकिस्तान की शहरक है, फिर तो हमारी शहरक कट गई
ना शहरक। अगर शहरक कट गई तो फिर मर गए, मगर शहरक अब दोबारा नहीं बन सकती ना यार। आप जो बात कर रहे हो ये इलॉजिकल है ना। क्या मैं आपसे बार बार पूछ रहा हूं कि क्या पाकिस्तान मिलिट्रीली कश्मीर पे कब्जा कर सकता है? एक इंसान बन के सोचो। अब उन्होंने ट्रेन चला दी है जम्मू से श्रीनगर, ट्रेन बानीहाल पास के थ्रू ट्रेन जा रही है। कैन यू इमेजिन? तुम किस दुनिया में बैठे हो? टाटा कंपनी का प्रॉफिट पाकिस्तान के जीडीपी से बराबर हो गया है। एक कंपनी का, इंडियन कंपनी का, एक टाटा कंपनी का प्रॉफिट पाकिस्तान के जीडीपी के बराबर है। आप कश्मीर आजाद कराने चल पड़े हो। खाने को रोटी नहीं है, कश्मीर आजाद कराएंगे? क्या बातें करो यार।
See, he's put out 4 important points in this talk, which I'm trying to say. And he said, look, Kashmir is over because they've put a train through. You can't take Kashmir by force. You don't have the military capability. You don't have the capability to match India because they are 7 times your economy. Just Tata's is, where it is. In terms of, just Tata's is more than Pakistan GDP. And the fourth thing he's spoken of India's water treaty. You look at it anywhere, their complete Kashmir policy is now dead. And as days go by, the Kashmir itself will say we don't want to be part of, you know, Pakistan. And the first inkling we got immediately after Pahalgam. Look, many people will say many things. Oh no, this, that, that is nothing, all that. But that's a later day story. It's going to happen as you see things moving out. The differential in economics, the differential in military might, the Kashmir Reserve done, and where railways go, the linkage has become too powerful. We understand all this. Okay. Now let's look at a third angle. And the third angle is Indus Water Treaty, water. Right? This is what this DG ISPAR said. He said, "Na, तुम हमारा पानी रोक दोगे तो सांस बंद कर देंगे." Okay, that was a very emotive thing, and a lot of people shouted and all that. But look at this video.
बिल्कुल ऐसा है। मैं इस वक्त मौजूद हूँ दरिया झेलम किनारे पर। आप देख सकते हैं दरिया झेलम में पानी का बहाव बहुत कम हो गया, जिसकी वजह से आबियात मुकम्मल तौर पर खत्म हो चुकी हैं और दरिया झेलम तहसील पिंड नदर खान और हेड रसूल के मकाम पर पानी का बहाव बहुत कम होने की वजह से वहां पर खुशहाली पैदा हो गई है। और ये भारतीय आबी जारियत का नतीजा है, जिसकी वजह से इन पिछले साल इन्हीं दिनों मंगला डैम में पानी की आमद और अखराज जो है वो तकरीबन 50% तक कमी आई है उसमें, जिसकी वजह से पंजाब के पांचों दरियाओं में पानी का बहाव कम हो गया है और इससे खुशहाली के खतरात में इजाफा हो गया है।
ये आप देख सकते हैं एक बार फिर से चनाब का पानी रोक दिया गया है, चनाब पूरा खाली हो गया है।
तो चनाब खाली हो गया, झेलम खाली हो गया, मंगला डैम नहीं भर रहा, दे सिल्टेड, all that is there. Right? Very important.
बिल्कुल ऐसा है।
And this report, few days back, it says Indus Basin is 15% water flow is reduced. And Pakistan's reservoirs are at critical levels. Whether you call it Mangla, whether you call it Marala, you call it Chashma, you call it Tarbela. They're all hardly any. And Pakistan is entering into a heat wave. The monsoons are far away, and this is their sowing season. And we all know Pakistan is an agrarian economy. And we'll talk of this connection with the budget shortly. Okay. And this man, see, he's the chap who claimed, all those J6s and Rafale shot down and all. He's supposed to be the defense minister, some minister, who said, no, all this data I got from the social media. What does he say?
चनाब में जो है पानी उतना नहीं है जितना पानी होना चाहिए.
So he is also saying चनाब में उतना पानी नहीं है जितना होना चाहिए. And we are not budging on the IWT. And Pakistan faces a very bleak future. They can't build dams in a hurry, and the dams which they have are not delivering. And dams are not the answer, incidentally. Building more dams won't solve their problem because first and foremost, they don't have the money to build dams, and there's no place to build dams in Pakistan. It's only the existing dams which they have to repair, which they can't. The major problem is their water channels, which they have to repair, which they are not concentrating on. They need to do water conservation. What about all the power plants which need water? And everything needs money. It needs payment. No one pays for power. No one pays for water. This is funny in Pakistan. No one pays for water. No one pays for power. So how will they recuperate? That is why I say beyond economic repair. Pakistan is in a state of beyond economic repair. They just don't have the money. They've neglected it for far too long. They've concentrated on terrorism. They've concentrated on the army, and they're going to go into a very bad place now. And let me also put it across. So far, all this, what you have seen about the Indus water, is without us doing anything. What have we done so far? Have you understood what we have done? Let me explain. You have not built, you have not actually stopped the water. You're allowing the water to go. You flushed your dams out. Just by flushing your dams and systems that's going on, you're increasing your water retention capability. And all the silt is going down there, and which they're not able to do anything. One simple step. And second, you're giving them water, and the effect is already here. You're just controlling it. You know, when they want water, you're not giving it to them. When they don't want water, you're giving it to them. You're not sharing data with them. Right? That's all. You're not done any infringement of the Indus Water Treaty. This is the first stage. The second stage, you're not abrogated the treaty. You're not got out of the treaty. The treaty is still there. You said it's held in abeyance. Why is it held in abeyance? Because in the past 2 years, you've written 3 letters to them and they have not bothered to respond. If they're not bothered to respond, you legally, they can go to any court. That court will say, first respond to them. Why didn't you respond? They have to respond and talk, which they are not able to do. They're not done. They're talking, oh, saans band kar denge and all this nonsense. It can't happen. Right? That's the next thing. The third thing is, India has still not taken its share of waters from the western rivers, incidentally, nor the eastern rivers. If India takes just its share under the Indus Water Treaty, without breaking any stipulation of the Indus Water Treaty, Pakistan will be in more pain. It will be a terminal case for Pakistan, let me assure you. If we break the Indus Water Treaty and invest, which is the long term, then the Pakistan can say thank you. But I don't think we will go there. Sooner or later, Pakistan has to negotiate. And if it doesn't negotiate and responds with terror, you don't have to use your military also. And they will know this in the next 2 months. They cannot repair themselves. That's why I say it is beyond economic repair. Okay, now let's get to the next story. Now let's get to their budget which came out yesterday. This great budget of theirs. Okay, look at this budget. Look at this budget. 50% of their budget is just for debt reserve. Serving their debt. Can you imagine this country where 50% is debt reservicing? Hardly anything for anything else. You can keep looking at this, pie chart. Interesting. All parameters have underperformed despite IMF loans. They've increased their defense budget by 20%. It has severe implications for Pakistan. Severe implications for Pakistan. The rest of Pakistan. Okay. The government, as per this budget, is spending less on socio-economic benefits. It has cut subsidies, raised taxes, and squeezed the poor. Health budget has been reduced by 50%. 50% reduction. And Pakistan is a country where polio is increasing. And water is going to be their biggest health problem, which they don't have. Contamination. So they've cut their health budget where they need more. They've increased their defense budget where they need less. Why? Because it's a matter of, well, that's Pakistan for us. Okay. And they've raised taxes as per the budget, which they're not going to get. No one pays taxes in Pakistan. It's only the salaried class who pays budget taxes. So this budget deficit, though it is some 5-6%, as they say, it could be even up to 10-12% because the revenue is not going to be there. Oh, without any issue, without anything about this is all pre-IWT story. All important crops have declined by 13.49%. Reduced cultivation. They're not got outputs. Whether you call it rice, sugarcane, wheat, everything. Gone. Right, maize. The details are given. So they are now what will happen? So their health is short, their agriculture is short. Add to this that Green Pakistan initiative by which they have sold land to people who will say, now please give us water. Because that's a contract. So they are in a worse state. And what is Pakistan now doing? They're selling their minerals in Balochistan. And Balochistan will be the next problem because you can't go and sell because there's a freedom movement out there. There's a freedom struggle in Balochistan. They're selling minerals and they're getting into crypto. And which is all shady. It can only fund terror activities. Look, Pakistan faces an economic collapse with or without the IMF, and this is going to play out. Okay, this I've spoken. Balochistan is slipping out. I mean, let's be very clear. Let's look at the terrorist activities or freedom fighting activities of the BLA, BLF, and all that. First and foremost, all those so far, whether you call them militant organizations or militarized organizations or insurgents, they've all got together. Last year, they carried out this Operation Hair Off, which was a very sophisticated operation. In multiple points, they struck, and the Pakistan army could do nothing. Thereafter, they carried out the Jafar Express attack. Again, a sophisticated thing 3 months back. Again, the Pakistan army could not. I've taken just 3. Every day there are action going on. And I'm not still talking of TTP, which is in a worse state. Or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which is in a worse state because of TTP. Okay. And then, after the Jafar Express, they had put Marang Baluch in. She is not out of the jail so far. And by and large, she is the most popular leader in Pakistan, rather Balochistan. She is not asked for freedom so far, but I will not be surprised if she comes out. She'll ask for freedom. The second person here is Akhtar Mengal. Akhtar Mengal is one of the popular Balochistan politicians who, till about 2 months back, was a cat on the wall. He was an ex-chief minister of Balochistan. He's been a minister in the Pakistan ministry. He's still a member of the National Assembly. But now he virtually sides with Marang Baluch. Both Marang Baluch and Akhtar Mengal have not come in support of BLA. And that time is not far when they will come out openly. And when that happens, you're looking at freedom struggle in Balochistan, full blown. And what is there now? For the first time, this little city called Surab has gone out of Pakistan control. It is under control of the Baluch people. It's been so for the past 15 days. And people have not been able to get back. Balochistan, or Pakistan has not been able to get back in. Right. So all that is there. Now, I find General Dushyant Singh is joined in. Let me get him in. Yeah. So let me get him in and ask him. Hi, General Dushyant. How are you? Early morning. You're going to office, I see. And you joined in. So can you give your views?
Yes, sir.
Take on what's happening in Balochistan?
I'll speak about Balochistan slightly later, sir. What I was talking about is that Pakistan
Pakistan has, been doing a lot of things which I think it does very smartly. But today morning, I think they are going to do even bad harm to themselves with the defense budget which is being propagated. First of all, it is the smallest overall budget of $62 billion, which is actually equivalent to our defense budget. I mean, I'm just giving the comparison, and out of that, they have allocated 20% to defense, which means about $12 billion, which is a rise of about 18 to 20%, which is huge. And it has left the rest of the country to the dogs, with the remaining money, which will not even be able to meet the various basic requirements of the country, whether it is health, economy, or whatever you have been just talking about since this program started. So I think they are digging their well on their own, and India just needs to keep pushing them towards this I would say unconsidered race to match India. It's just not possible. Humanly, it is $600 billion is our overall defense budget annual budget outlay. Their overall annual budget outlay is 62 billion. पहाड़ और चूहे का अंतर, that's something which people should realize. And on top of it, the Balochistan, I mean, I'll come to that Balochistan issue which you were talking about. Today morning I was listening to a Pakistani MP, a lady, who was saying that the government is just not able to understand the Balochistan problem. And if they think that they'll be able to solve the problem of Balochistan through military and forced submission, then they are highly mistaken. So a lot of internal voices also now coming in from other parts of the Pakistan, not only Balochistan itself. The MPs there are questioning their overall strategy to tame Balochistan. And on top of it, it has become the big power game football field now, with US, China, everybody now trying to take their pound of flesh. I don't know where Pakistan is heading for.
Yeah. Look at this. These are in the past 1 week articles in Baidu in China, which says,
Yes.
look, the front foot of the Chinese fighter plane hit India hard, and the back foot of Pakistan had a sudden problem. At the critical moment, China must come out. And he's talking of the Balochistan problem. It's not only one. I'll show another article, right? It says, what is the mystery of independence farce of Balochistan province in Pakistan? So this pressure which you say is also coming from China. China is also feeling the pressure.
Absolutely.
Because that CPEC is at stake and Gwadar is also at stake. Your views?
Absolutely, sir. In fact, the red line for China is the CPEC. That's a red line for China, not only for which means we have gone beyond the CPEC. Actually, in Op Sindoor, what we have done is actually we demonstrated the capability that if any kind of a misadventure is done, then Chinese are also not off the table. Their interests will also get hit should there be a need, and should India feel the necessity that China is collaborating incessantly to Pakistan, in their effort to bring down India. That proxy war thing will not go on anymore, sir. We have the jugular vein. CPEC is actually the jugular vein for China as well, and as well as Pakistan.
So that's important. If the summation, if the situation in Balochistan continues to deteriorate, the security environment of China-Pakistan economic corridor and Port Gwadar will be invariably be impacted. And this is the view coming right out of China. And Chinese realize it, and somehow or the other, look, and Pakistan has not had the capability to do anything about it. Now look at this. This is from within Pakistan National
मुझे
Assembly.
सब ये समझ नहीं आ रहा है कि वाकया खुशदार में हुआ है और हम हिंदुस्तान को यहाँ पे डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। मुझे अपने इदारों को हम क्यों डिस्कस ना करें कि हमारे इदारे क्या कर रहे हैं। हमारे जो यहाँ पे फोर्सेस है बलूचिस्तान में, जिनको हमने इतने इख्तियारात दिए, जो मुझे भी तलाशी कर सकता है, मेरे घर में भी बगैर पूछे घुस सकता है, हम उससे क्यों नहीं पूछते कि भाई आप क्या कर रहे हो वहां पे। ये हिंदुस्तान से तो ना कोई बम आता है मेरे ख्याल से, ना कोई बंदा आता है। बंदे तो हमारे वही के हैं। जिस तरह मुझे सब ये समझ नहीं आ रहा है कि वाकया खुश
So बंदे तो वहीं के हैं. That's what he says. And this man is a member of the Pakistan National Assembly, right?
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, this is something which people have to understand and, you know, think what's happening in Balochistan and in Pakistan as a whole. But let me get ahead. I have one more issue which I want to put across, and that's to do with poverty in Pakistan. Okay. Why am I saying this? This is a report of the Dawn, which came out maybe about a week back. But after that, what happened? The World Bank report came out, in which the people in Pakistan are in poverty. The number are increasing today. 45% of people have gone into poverty. On the other hand, you know, the rate of change in India is tremendous. Our poverty rate over the same period has dropped down from 27% to 5%. And in this poverty rate, what you see is that we've lifted 269 million people out of poverty. 269 million is one full Pakistan, which people don't
Absolutely.
understand. Okay.
Absolutely. More than that. More than that.
More than that. More than that. Pakistan population as of now is just about 230 to 40 million. We have 269 million is a huge amount. And what that 45% poverty rate in Pakistan was about 3 years back. In the past 3 years, Pakistan metrics would have gone down. So it is even worse. And now you're looking at something which is completely different. So, what do you see at the end of the day? The way I look at it, Pakistan is beyond economic repair. And I would like General Dushan to say, look, when you say BER in Fauj, what do you understand by BER? I think people must understand what BER is.
For layman, I will explain it in both Hindi and English so that your entire audience is able to understand. Beyond economic repair, it means in Hindi, जिसका कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं उसको कबाड़ी में फेंक दिया जाता है. आप समझ रहे हैं कबाड़ी में? That means anything of which we cannot do anything, no utility, that is sent to the scrap yard. And in the scrap yard, what happens? There is a dozer which comes, presses this particular equipment and takes it off from the inventory list. Inventory list se out ho jata hai. The meaning of inventory list is that Pakistan will get out of the inventory list of the world. After all, it's an inventory of the world. So if it becomes BER, which means that Pakistan would be beyond redemption.
Yeah. The danger in this is that if Pakistan is beyond redemption economically, militarily, and everything, it has got only one recourse, and that is terror.
Correct.
And that is the danger which is going to face us, and that's the threat which we have to contend with. And that is what we have to prepare for. And that is what we have to prepare for, not only to parry it, but also retort. I want you to spend a couple of minutes on this if you have the time still left and you're not reached office.
No, I haven't reached, sir. And it is basically because of this particular aspect that even India is worried, even the world is worried. You see, if something like this happens, terror is one issue, but where will these terrorists go? They'll start going all over the place. And which is the nearest place to go? Where they find and where they may be able to find, I won't say they will find, that they may be able to find sanctuaries. And then create problems for countries which are in the surrounding, whether it is India, whether it is Nepal, whether it is Bhutan. I mean, they can go anywhere, wherever they can find a kind of a parasitical living. Let me put it this way. And that is something which we need to be cautious of. And that is why the world also keeps feeding it, just bare enough to sustain and survive. $40 billion is not going to come to them overnight, right?
Yeah, it's
going
over
to come
10 years.
to them. It's going to come over 10-year period, and it will keep getting reviewed. It will keep getting reviewed. There will be conditions. Yes, today there is a favorable dispensation in the World Bank, barring the boss of the World Bank. Rest of the countries like Germany, etc., are favorably disposed to Pakistan. But ultimately, there will be so many conditions which will be laid down on the Pakistanis that they will not be able to fully utilize it. So our worry should be that we should let Pakistan simmer like this, continuously keep rotting on its base, but let it remain in some semblance of control, so that these elements, radical elements which are there, and they are in large numbers, they are not in small numbers, they are in large numbers, they are moving around with their Pakistani army, they are moving with the ISI, they are moving with the government, so they have a freedom to operate, especially on our borders, right? So therefore we need to be extra careful to ensure that these elements, even if they come, even if Pakistan, let's say, start losing control, we have a mechanism to control these guys who are coming. They should not be just allowed to enter. There should be a method of quarantining them and then looking at where, what we can do with them. It is something which we need to think far ahead. Should this thing, it's not going to happen overnight, but as and when it starts happening, you will find that the pressure will come first on India and then elsewhere. Maybe some guys will go towards Afghanistan, but Afghanistan itself is quite happy about it. They will get their chunk of flesh west of Indus. Problem will be with us, with the radicalized Punjab and radicalized Sindh and radicalized Punjab.
Yeah, it's not only here. I think even our neighbors, they could enter through our neighborhood,
North,
especially
northern,
Bangladesh.
no,
Bangladesh.
northern
Hmm.
China is feeling very happy about it. But if something happens, you know what is there in the north?
Yeah. So we,
You will.
but then the thing, I don't know whether China will be very happy with all these chaps loafing around in Tibet, because that they will tend to start destabilizing Tibet also. They have a problem
That
there.
is why I'm saying. That is why I'm saying. Even the Chinese will be wary of them.
Yeah,
That's why they're
yeah,
saying the back foot is.
they are on the back
The,
foot. The Chinese are also on the back foot on this entire issue, right? Okay, we've come long into the program. Let me take a few views of the audience. The first view: Pakistan is primarily a broker. That is his core strength. He has built this core strength on the fact that he is always broke. I thought that was a very nice comment, and for everyone to So he's a broker because he's always broke. Okay, let me take a few questions. Otherwise, Balal, thanks a lot for becoming a member. Pujit says Pakistan is looking to buy hypersonic missiles soon, maybe in 1 to 2 years. Will India's AD be ready to tackle hypersonic attack by that time? My own view is this: it's not going to be in a hurry. No one gets Pakistan, no one gets hypersonic missiles in a hurry. So don't worry about it. It's not going to happen immediately. First, the second thing is, who will give them hypersonic systems, right? And what kind of hypersonic systems? We'll take it. And as and when we do see, I'm sure our AD will also increase. It's not something which is, yeah, so he's back. Good. So, yeah, you could look at it. Pakistan is looking to buy hypersonic
Yeah,
missile systems. Will our AD be
I, sir,
ready?
as of now, sir, no one in the world can actually intercept hypersonic missiles. That is one thing we should get it very clear. Where on its downstream, it is, some people say it's around 20 Mach plus. With that speed, it comes, and it gives you only 14 seconds to react to. So this is something of a problem, which is not only with India or China or Pakistan. It's even with Russians, or sorry, Americans. Everybody is looking. The Golden Dawn program is actually meant to take care of the hypersonic. So everybody is in the same boat as far as hypersonics are concerned. As far as
But I would like,
capability,
let me
as
let
far
me
as
let me put it. I'd like to just talk
I
about a hypersonic. 1 minute. Hypersonics are most vulnerable when they are launched. Any
that's right.
hypersonic when launched is vulnerable. Till it releases goes to that. So that is where you have a capability. And in the case of Pakistan, because their depth is not much, you can't, it's not more than 400 kilometers. You have the capability of hitting them on launch itself. So things are not lost. It's only when you use hypersonic at real long ranges that you have a problem. Not here.
That's
One. And number two, that system, what we are talking of, that kind of hypersonic system with a glide vehicle and all, no one has perfected it. It's still far
yeah.
away. And by then we will develop some AD system. I'm sure of that. Yeah. Anything
No,
you want to add?
no, that's what I said. This is something work in progress, and as far as our capability of hypersonics is concerned, we also have it. So
Yeah.
we should not get unduly concerned if they can. It's like the nuclear. I mean, today the dilemma would be like the nuclear dilemma. So same thing will be the dilemma with hypersonics. So if they do, we do.
We'll deal with it.
That's it.
Okay. Pakistan is going for German air defense IRIST, which has worked well in Ukraine and claims to be able to stop BrahMos. Your thoughts, please. Yeah, Dushyant.
So BrahMos is a supersonic missile, but the new generation one is expecting to become hyper. Now, if it becomes hypersonic, then BrahMos will not be. I mean, they'll not be able to stop it. And on that track, I think we've already done it. So we have
Yeah.
already done it. I can't say with certainty, but what I have got the information
No,
is that
let
we
me
do have
explain. I know the technicalities of BrahMos, so let me say. Look, BrahMos is a missile which will be sustained at 3 Mach plus, the new generation BrahMos. 3 Mach
Yeah.
plus throughout its trajectory. Okay, even a hypersonic, unless it's a glide vehicle, can't be sustained at that level. A glide vehicle is a different story. If it's just a hypersonic missile which is launched, the missile launch is hypersonic, but thereafter it's a ballistic missile which loses speed. Whereas BrahMos is sustained at 3 Mach to 5 Mach throughout. So it's almost a hypersonic in actual thing. That is why even today, no country has defense against BrahMos.
It's
It's
a
not
cruise
just
missile.
even China. Yeah, it's a cruise missile,
It's
and it's a thrust vector control missile, cruise missile. That means the thrust has to be maintained till the end. If the thrust is maintained till the end, the speed is also maintained to the end, and it's very difficult to intercept. That's the thing. Second, as far as the German air defense and all is concerned, ये तो कहानी है. You think Germany will sell missiles to Pakistan? You heard what Javed Bajwa spoke. I showed it to you. They all, the complete Western countries cancelled all contracts which were due with to Pakistan and they not got anything. Plus the fact that our diplomacy will start playing up. Already our or external affairs ministers had a talk in Germany, and Germany has come out against terror and Pahalgam. So no one is going to give anything to Pakistan. So don't worry about this. Right. Let me
another
take a
thing,
yeah.
sir, another thing which I want to add here is in this particular question is look, from India, they will get the mullah in case
Yeah.
if we take anything from any country. From Pakistan, they will not get mullah. They'll get the other mullah. They'll get the other
Yeah.
mullah. I'm talking of they will not get the money,
Yeah.
but they might get the other mullah. So that is something which is a big leverage which we have, and
Yeah.
Pakistan doesn't have.
Yeah, Hans, Shalom, Namaskar, and Manakam to all. Thanks for attending. Ashok Gazula says, Sir, just finished watching China's crisis is deepening, which is I put out in the morning. Looking forward to the 9-point analysis on long-term slow collapse of China. I want to tell everyone that I'll do a little later, but tomorrow I'm going to talk of what China has lost as a result of Op Sindoor. When I sat down and thought, there were 9-10 points where China has, lost very severely on Op Sindoor. And we'll talk of this tomorrow morning. Okay. Jeet, hi, good morning. Thanks for joining in. Right. Vijay Pula says, one positive news for Pak economy is donkey prices and demand have gone up in China and Pak exports will increase. I suppose that's a correct thing to say. Then Shruti Changdak says, Namaskar, thanks a lot. Yeah, this is important. If you, in your mind, if you've decided that you will not repay debt, then normal laws of economics is not at play. I completely agree with you. Right? And that is why we have to assess, your view. How do we assess Pakistan in that case, which we have spoken of?
I mean, no, we absolutely agree with the statement. The only thing is the world has to realize, till how long you're going to sustain Pakistan with this threat of not repaying a loan. It's already 4 years, 5 years down the line when China has been rolling rolling back the loan of Pakistan, but there is a limit to somebody's patience.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it will show off in a very different manner.
Okay. And Abhijit Chakravarti says, sir, good morning. Just off topic. Could you make an episode on upcoming technologies? I will. In fact, it's very interesting, I must say. Jan
We'll do that.
Dushyant and I had
With
we did a fantastic talk on upcoming
series,
technologies. Yeah, series,
and it was a
right?
series. In fact. It was a series.
We did a huge series, and we spoke of the upcoming technologies and the triangle between information and space and many things. Unfortunately, this was before this whole story. Many people didn't understand it, but now I'm going to replay it. I do hope I'm going to put it out again. I do hope most of you will appreciate what we are now talking of. Okay, okay, right. Then let me see. Mm,
Sir,
no, I just Jai Hind, thanks a lot. Yeah, this is interesting. He says 14 June, Hafiz CEO Munir and company visiting Pentagon. Let's see if they visit Pentagon and what they will get. Okay. And then Sudhakar says request a separate vlog on fractional orbit bombardment system with expert inputs. Don't worry, I am quite clear. I will explain to you. I've done this earlier also, but I'll do it. Okay. Uh, yeah, let me see if there's any. Yeah. Okay. We've been trying to project Pakistan as a global epicenter, public fount of terror for quite a while now and have tried to isolate it. But these diplomatic steps haven't yielded much rewards, or am I wrong? Look, let me put it this way. You're wrong for the simple reason the Pakistani army chief himself has admitted, the previous one. I showed that clip to you. All their contracts, he himself said that, look, because of Indian pressure, all our contracts which we had drawn with the West had fallen through and we had to go to China. Okay. And with the kind of diplomatic pressure which we're going to now put, things will happen. Now, your views, Jandushant.
I mean, this is something of a question which really doesn't require much of a, I would say, response. I would say that Pakistan is reaping what it is sowing. I mean, that's
Sowing.
one simple line.
Yep. Okay. Yatharth, it seems Jayton performs best when in anger. I agree with you. Right. And then let me take one odd question more before I close it. Yeah. Yeah. Just saw Shabbar Zaidi on Don News YouTube channel on budget. He literally blasted his budget as a useless exercise. I think he's right. That's why I showed Shabbar Zaidi to you and what he thought of Kashmir, what he thought of IWT, what he thought of Pakistan, and many other things.
And this
Right.
is exactly what prompted me to jump in for this program about the defense budget.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's a fine thing. With Pakistan suspending Shimla agreement, is it time to salami slice? I recommend we start with Haji Pir and Sharda. Well, I think your views. I don't. I think it's too premature. We need to be cool at this
I
point
mean,
of time.
let's not be in hurry to do things which are matter of time, matter of fact things
Let
which may happen,
yeah.
which may happen as and when the opportunity arises.
Yeah. And then, of course, divert Chenab water to Bakra Dam and to Pong Dam. All this will take time. Don't be in a hurry.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let me see if there's, yeah, Harshdeep Javanda. The overall interception rate of Onyx missile, cousin of BrahMos, is 4%, according to Ukrainian statistics released last year. That's not something to worry about too much. Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I said. It's not easy. It's not going to happen in a hurry.
Yeah.
Okay. Pakistan doesn't fight wars to defeat India, but damages, and thus undefeatable till idea of Pakistan is completely destroyed. Yeah, I agree with you. Your views. I've given a lot of my views on this.
I see. See, ideology is something which never dies, right? If you think that this ideology was a recent production, I'm sorry. It started off way back in the early late 1700s and continued thereafter in the country in some form or the other. So the idea can only die with the counter idea, and it is the responsibility of ours to have a much more stronger counter ideological framework which goes along and subsumes this kind of an ideology.
Yeah, he says, I don't understand why those so-called farmers of Haryana, Punjab now come out to support government and ask for Chenab water. Why Haryana, Punjab governments fighting for Satluj water don't speak? Yeah, I agree with you, Nipun. This is an old problem. This is our internal political problem which we have to solve and nothing more to it. But I
And the
agree with your
solution,
thing. But I think things should change now, right?
yes,
Yeah.
we have to
Okay.
be collaborative. We have to be
Yeah, that's good.
collaborative.
I am a lawyer, international law. It is apparent to me that all these letters Pakistan is writing are an attempt to create legal ground to take the matter to ICJ or perform some form of arbitration. Well,
Sir, let them take it to ICJ. ICJ only works if the second party also agrees to go to ICJ.
otherwise nothing
Second thing,
happens. Yeah.
second thing, even if the ICJ gives a decision, it's not mandatory on the part of the other party to follow it. See the example of China in the South China Sea.
Yeah,
As simple.
I agree completely. So then nothing is going to come out of that whole story. Okay. Yeah. Pakistan just passed a new law for Balochistan that allows imprisonment for 90 days without a trial. Well, that's part of their story. That's their desperate thing. You can pass any number of laws, but ultimately you have to do something on ground which they are not able to do. Okay. Yeah. Average Pakistani is not after materialistic things, even food. If it is focused only on jihad and Ghazwa, Hind, all materialistic pleasures are reserved for ruling elite. All Pakistanis agree with this. Yeah, yeah, there's
I
no
mean,
this thing.
I just spoke about it.
Yeah,
20%. I mean, their core commanders are known as crore commanders. That's the simple answer for you. Core
yeah,
commanders are known as crore commanders, and
Lord
the
Commander.
field marshal is known as what all of you know.
Yeah, he might be a failed marshal, but he's a good banker. He's gonna swollen his bank up. It was revealed that attack on
Oh,
Israel. Yeah,
I
attack
said
on Israel is.
all generals of
Yeah,
Pakistan have Papa Jones and such like chains abroad. You must
yeah,
understand this. They are actually crore, nahi, they must be
yeah,
billionaires.
multi-billionaires. Okay, it was revealed that attack on Israel embassy in USA has Pakistani connection. Well, that's par for the course. It has to happen. There's no other thing. Okay, let me see if there's anyone else. Yeah, Akshar says ex-ISRO chief S. Somnath suggested India to deploy hundreds of satellites to detect the launch of hypersonic missile on a global scale. As we grow, our enemies are bound to increase. Yeah,
Sir, I fully agree with this kind of a thing, but you need the budget, you need the resources, and he was the ISRO chief,
Hmm.
so he should have really worked towards it. I mean,
Yeah,
let me put it this way. So we are working towards it. Maybe the speed is slightly slow. We need to expand that speed. Today, we had to do some ad hoc arrangements for Op Sindoor. We will have to actually now make more concrete investments into our new age technologies.
yeah, and that's what he's come out today in the newspaper today morning only. I saw this. I completely agree with him. Right. All like Pranam sir, what is the future of IWT? I've explained to you. So the future of IWT is, we don't have to get out of it. We just have to keep it under par at this point of time and take a whole story. Right. We will discuss this separately. It's a whole thing. Okay. Then what other non-kinetic actions can be taken against Pakistan apart from IWT? Maybe geopolitical or economic. We have to have more options than just IWT.
I,
Yeah,
I think we are already taking those options. It's not only IWT. If you go back and see what all actions we have taken, most favored nation, the trade has been brought down. The non-kinetic would be, let me give you an idea, giving aid to giving aid to Afghanistan via the sea, right? So
Yeah,
that will suddenly start, that will suddenly start raising the hackers in Balochistan, and there are a number of ways in which we can do this, and we are doing it also.
no, not only that, let me put it. The Chinese are worried about what we are doing, incidentally. The Chinese are worried the way we are developing links with Iran. The Chinese are worried the way we are developing links with Afghanistan. And the Chinese all now openly claim that we support in Balochistan, though Balochistan says no. Balochistan said we don't want help from you, right? So, and of course, Taliban, that's also there. Trade you cut
The,
off, like what?
the
Yeah.
prime minister is visiting Cyprus and Croatia for what?
Mm.
It's a
Yeah.
message to our friend on the western border. Don't start
Mm.
rake up Kashmir issue,
Yeah, a
because they
lot
are
of things
linked
are
to.
happening. Yeah, even Turkey, Cyprus and Greek,
That's
fingers.
why I'm saying
Yeah.
your friend's friend is being targeted.
Mm.
So if prime minister is going there, he's going there with some purpose. That's all non-kinetic in nature.
Yeah.
We have gone to Greece. We are supporting Greece. Why? So your friend Turkey starts behaving well.
Right. Papa John says park funding. That's news to me. My sister used to order from there when I lived in LA. Papa John is owned by that Asim Bajwa. He's a cross between the
Yeah,
old chief and the new chief. Asim Munir and Javed Bajwa. He is Asim Bajwa.
yeah,
He
yeah,
was,
yeah.
yeah,
Most of them have their pie in something or the other.
yeah. We need to create at least one world-class livable city at par with the West if we want to attract top talented brain drain thoughts.
I think we are trying to create smart cities, etc. It'll come, it'll happen. I mean, just keep waiting for it. I mean, you can't be impatient. Let me put it this way: India is a very complex country. It needs a lot of effort to develop and build it. And I am seeing for myself, within a span of 1 year of my tenure in Punjab as the court commander there, I saw the entire transformation taking place from Jalandhar to Amritsar. I used to take 2.5 hours to reach. I started finishing it in 1 hour. So I mean, these developments are taking place not only in the road, but in the cities, in the municipal corporations. But it will take time to see. We are inside it, so we don't realize it. Ask the people who are coming from outside, from America and others, and when they are seeing the India of today, they are amazed. They are surprised. The other day, P Gurus, we had this program. He himself said, you come to India now, don't be stuck in the so problem with us who are in the problem, we don't see the growth. Problem with the others who are outside the problem, they have not seen us. So somewhere we have to really analyze this issue very carefully and very, I would say, clearly, dispassionately. We are growing, we will create cities, and why
Okay.
only cities, villages also.
As you mentioned before, India's internal strength and security is important. So internal radicalization has to be addressed. Your views, sir.
Absolutely true, agree.
We don't have a choice in that, in fact.
Absolutely.
Okay. How high is the probability that the thousands Starlink satellites have a dual use for missile tracking, spying purposes, in addition to the facade of providing internet to the populace?
Look,
Look, let me.
it depends.
Yeah, go ahead.
It depends on the it depends on the payload. So whatever is the use you will make of a satellite, it depends on the payload. As of now, it is configured for communications. But if you have something more to add to it, I don't know. I thought it is
Yeah,
only for communication.
look, fundamentally, Starlinks is for communication prima facie. But US government has funded Starlinks. The US government doesn't fund Starlinks just for fun. I'm very sure most of the contracts with US government has given to Starlinks is for dual use. And I'm sure
Yes.
there are a lot of dual use technologies in Starlinks. So the ability, the next stage, the way I look at it, as part of that golden dome which that Trump is planning and all, there might be platforms, there might be even weapon platforms. The Starlinks is very potent. and the Chinese are very scared of it. And that's something which I must tell all of you. Okay. 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 The last question, but it's an interesting question, and I think we need to answer this. After this, we'll close down. Why is Pak embraced by the world, but North Korea is not?
There are two reasons for it. In my view, see,
Yeah.
the geography of Pakistan is one thing which keeps attracting people to Pakistan, and this was created with that aim in 1947. You know, when they carved out Pakistan, it was not to give any freedom or land to the Muslims. No, sorry, you're sadly mistaken. That was the ploy to create a nation artificially, A, to keep India in check, B, to keep Russia, maintain observation on Russia, maintain observation on China, have the links to the Central Asian region, Iran. Iran, of course, that time was friendly, but they always hedge. Americans and the British always hedge to a future possibility. These are the reasons. What does North Korea provide? Really nothing, which Japan can't provide, or Philippines can't provide, or so many other countries in the littoral can't provide. In fact, the other countries provide a better line of defense, which actually straddles China into inability to go into the big seas.
Yeah, not only that, let me add one point. I'm not going to talk of Pakistan. You know, Pakistan, there are a lot of videos why Pakistan is important to the West. But I want to add a line about North Korea. Why people don't like North Korea? They want North Korea to fall. They want North Korea to fall and be part of South Korea, or rather, the Korea to be part of, the Western sphere of influence. The day that happens, they'll be sitting on Yalu. Yalu abuts China, and Yalu at its closest is just 400 kilometers from Beijing. And you are sitting on Beijing's doorstep. Okay, no one will help North Korea. The people who will help North Korea are China and Russia. Russia will help North Korea at all costs. Because when North Korea is this thing, then you must also understand that the West is sitting on the border of Russia. And Russia, then that area of Vladivostok is caught in a pincer between Japan and this Korea, the Korean peninsula, right? And the Sakhalin Island, everything comes under problems. So Korea has a great connotation for the West. So has Pakistan. Pakistan has a positive connotation for the West. And North Korea has a negative connotation. You have to understand that is the difference. Right. I think we have done for the day. Thanks a lot, Dushyant, for joining me. It was actually a very nice surprise you threw on me. Normally, it turned it into a great thing. So if you can join tomorrow also at the same time, 9 o'clock onwards, and we'll tomorrow talk of what Pakistan has lost. Yeah, you'll be able to join tomorrow.
Tomorrow I have a there's a opening address which I have to give to a CAPS.
Okay, fine. Sure, fine.
Media management. So I will not be available, but definitely if I am free from that, I'll jump in. I'll jump in, right?
Yeah, please, anytime in the morning. Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot to all of you who have joined in today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, press the like button and subscribe to Ganashot and Clause. Every day, every podcast of Ganashot is going live to Clause, and every live or video of Clause is being uploaded to Ganashot. We are interchangeable, and we are non-discriminatory against each other. Okay, so thanks a lot. Have a great time till evening. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.